Hi everyone, welcome to the first part of our Linux basic command series. In this video, we will cover the essential commands every Linux beginner needs to know to navigate the terminal with ease. Whether you are new to Linux or looking to brush up your skills, the tutorial will help you get started with the fundamental commands. Let's get started. We try is ls. ls command is to list the directory content, and it has different options. So every command in Linux, it has different options, and it has some improvements, some details you really would like to know when you run any command. For example, with ls, if you run l, you see detailed listing of directories, files. It also shows you different options like the file type. If a file starts with dash, it's a normal file. If it starts with d, then it's a directory, so you know what type of file it is. Then the file permissions, we will get into this later. And then the link of the file, also we go through this link, soft link, hard link later in this video, and also deep dive in other videos. And then the file owner, the file group, and file size, date of creation or modification, and the file name. Similarly, there is another option, it's a. So if we use ls space hyphen la, it gives you all the hidden files, which normally doesn't happen with l. You have to provide a. So if you give the option a, you can see all the files inside the directory, basically all the hidden files. For example, .ansible, .ssh, .vminfo. So these are the hidden files you can see. And also there is another command which is ls-l h. So with h, you can see the file size, but with the unit on top of it. Because if you see here, the size just says bytes. Even if it's kilobytes 1680, it gives you the unit. For example, you have bigger files, the bytes are really long, but instead you can find in h, if it's a megabyte, 1.5 megabytes or 2 megabytes, so those type of informations which are really handy with ls. So you can see with h, it's more human readable size you can find. Let's move to the next command, which is cd. So cd means change the directory. Basically, it's called change directory, and it changes the current directory to other directories. For example, pwd prints the working directory. It prints the current working directory where you are. We will go through in the next command section, but let's talk about cd. So you are inside home/ec2 user, and I want to go to etc, which is one of the directories. Then I can just cd etc, and if you do pwd, you find etc directory. So changing directories, it's one of the options. So, and just if you enter cd, just cd without any directory names, it always takes you to your home directory. And if I talk about home directory, so home directory is the place whenever you log into a Linux machine, it's always gets created like /home/user id. So for this, I'm using Amazon Linux machine and logged in as a EC2 user. So the home directory is /home/EC2 user. So cd always takes you there. Okay, now the next thing is pwd. As we talked already, it prints the working directory, and why it's really useful. For example, you are under etc, and you want to check where you are before you create a file. So let's say you want to create a file inside ec2 user home, but you are in ec/etc. So you just confirm, okay, you are in etc, and you move back to, let's say, home ec2 user before creating a file. So it's just printing your working directory, and you can just copy. Let's say sometimes you want some information about your path, you copy paste. So pwd gives you the exact directory path of yours. and quickly move to the next command, which is mkdir. So mkdir command allows you to create a directory, and you have also option -p. We will check that as well. So let's say for mkdir, I want to create a directory called lab. I hit enter. If I check the output now, the lab is created with D. As I said, if initial file type is D, then it's a directory. You can see it's created successfully. And you also have like mkdir -p, and let's say I give home / ec2 -user -lab, or maybe lab1, something like this. So if we now go inside lab, you can see the lab1 is created successfully. So with the p option, you can create parent directories if they don't exist. For example, uh, you want to create something inside etc, and you provide this option -p. Just say, for example, sorry, if I go back to mkdir, I provide /etc slash configuration. So this is something I want to create, and then I want to create a test directory inside. So my idea is I want to create a configuration directory and then a directory called test inside it. If I hit it, it says cannot create a directory, no such file or directory, because etc is there for sure in Linux machine, but configuration might not be there, and you want to create test under configuration, and then because it's not there, it won't be created, because for test to be created there has to be a configuration folder. But in the same syntax, if I add -p option, I hit enter. Let's give sudo. So we talk about sudo for sure. Sudo is like a super user permissions for like EC2 user. It cannot run certain commands in etc and other system folders. So you have to use sudo to have root level access to run. So let's try sudo. And now you see the difference. With -p option, you were able to create both configuration and test, but in the first option it can't, because with just mkdir, if one of the parent directory is missing, it won't create a child directory. But with -p, both configuration and tests get created. So just to confirm, let's run ls and this one, and you see it's there. Or maybe you can just try like this, and you can see the test directory is present. So -p is helpful when you want to create a parent directory which doesn't exist. Next command we try is rmdir. So for example, let's see ls -ltr, and we have a directory called test, and I want to run rmdir test. Let's see what happens. Okay, so it means the test directory is removed. So with rmdir, we can remove one directory, but again, you cannot remove any directory with rmdir. Rmdir only helps with you the directories which are empty. For example, we have a lab directory, and inside that we have a lab1. Let's try to remove lab. You can see it says fail to remove lab directory because it's not empty. So it means rmdir only helpful when your directory is empty. But what if directory is not empty? So you can use, let's say, rm option r lab, and you can see this command runs fine, and if I run again, there is no lab. So to remove a non-empty directory, you can use basically rm-r, but with rmdir you can remove any non-empty directories. And also, if you want to remove any files, you cannot use rm dir, instead you have to use rm. So let's run this. Yes, So with rm you can remove any files or any directories. Next, move to a command which is copy. As it says, cp is for copying files or directories from one location to other locations. For example, let's try to copy file 2.txt to etc. Let's use sudo because some operations need sudo for ec2 user. If I run this, we can check here the file 2.txt is still present, and then if I go inside etc, you can just do ls/etc, or maybe it's better to use ls minus ltr/etc because it has so much content. And you can see file 2.txt has copied over here. So it means with copy operation you have the copy of the file on your source and also on the target. But let's check mb command. In similar case, if I want to move mb command, let's do var, let's use sudo, and now check. So file 2.txt is not here anymore. It means it moved your file completely. And if we check var/var, you can see the file 2.txt is here. So move is another way. Move copies, not copies, it removes file from the source and moves into the target. So it doesn't keep the copy in the source directory, unlike copy command, cp command. And also with move, what you can do is you can rename a file. For example, I want to rename this file into file.txt. If I rerun, you can see file 3.txt not there anymore, and it has a file called file.txt. So you can rename your files, and it's just a metadata operation, so it doesn't really change your data inside. Instead it just renames the file. Okay, next move to our next command, touch. And with touch, let's say I create a file called test.1txt, and or maybe test2.txt, as many as files I can create. So with touch you create an empty file, and if I check the file list, I can see test1.txt, test2.txt, both files are created without any actual size. It's just empty, right? It's 0, it's empty. So why touch is used? So if you touch any file, it just empty file, and it's update the timestamp as well. Like if you run touch again on the same file name, your timestamp will be changed, but files remain the same, empty. And let's use another command, cat. So what does cat does? So with cat you can check the display, or display, you can display the file content. So you want to see the file content, you just run cat. And like there is something else we will check, which is vi command is for if you see the difference, the moment I hit vi, I can go inside, I can make changes. It's like an editor, but with cat it just shows you the output. You really don't want to change anything, you can just see the content, you run the cat command. Okay, and then let's look at some other things. For example, I want to see the content of inventory.txt. I can see there is something inside this content. If I use less command, okay, because the lines of output is not big, you just see the same 2 lines, but actual reason of having less command is it displays the file content page by page. For example, let's go to let's do one thing. Let's sudo su. Let's logged in as a root. So with sudo su, you can go to the root folder, root directory or root user, and then let's go to var slash log or maybe some other directories. Okay, slash var, and I'm just trying to see if I have anything um, which content is really big. Okay, let's go to log, and for example I want to see the DNF log. Okay, so if I do, as I said, using cat, you can see the content, everything. But again, if you run cat, it will go to the last page and just shows you the final output because it has so much information, different pages of logs. So what is the best way to do it? If you want to visualize page by page, instead use less. Okay, so if you see, the first thing it shows you the first page, and then you can go to the next page. As you enter, you can just go to the next page. So that's the beauty. So if you want to verify everything, just have a list command, then cat command. And if that makes sense, we can move to the next command, which is like head. So why head is used? So head is used to see, let's say you are interested in the first 10 lines of your uh, log, not everything, just first 10 lines. So you can use head command and you can just see first 10 lines. Similarly, you are interested in first 100 lines of your log, you just hit head minus 100 and you see a first 100 lines. This is for the first 100 lines of the file that you are looking at. But if you want to check the last 100 or 10 lines, for example, last 10 lines, okay, so with tail you can see the last 10 lines or last 100 lines of your file or the logs in this file. For example 100, you see this. And there is another option with tail, which is minus f. So why we need minus f? It's really important. Like every time you do some troubleshootings, or you as an admin, you want to check something real time, you use tail minus f. For example, uh, you are now troubleshooting what happens to my yum install, or something related to installing files, something happening somewhere is coming. So you can keep two screens, one to have this tail minus f dnf log, and other screen to run the command. And when you run that command, you would start seeing the logs generating here real time. So if you just tail 100, it just shows you 100. But if you want to troubleshoot real time and look at the logs, so this is the command you should run every time, tail minus f, and you see the command you run on the other screen and the logs are getting generated here. So it's easy to identify what exactly happens with your command. And then the next command we can try is the find. So find is a very popular command in Linux because you have so many directories, so many files inside a machine, and you want to, let's say, find something very specific file. For example, um, a file name test.txt you want to find. So what you can do is you can provide the find command, and you want to search in your root directory. So you can provide your just forward slash and then minus name, and then let's say file.txt. Okay, so that's the beauty. As I said, with find, I provided the root directory, search everywhere, and I want to understand where my file.txt is present. And similarly, if I give test.txt, you can see the test.txt is only present under /etc. And similarly, there are other options with this, like you can also provide uh, find forward slash minus type, and you can say if it's a file or it's a directory, you can say. And so sorry. And if you, let's say, give like this, also it works. So you can give this option type f, and you say okay, it's a file with name this. And if I give d option and I say okay, I'm looking for something called lab. Okay, there is no lab directory. Let's say I'm looking for something called var, and it says yes, you have a directory called var. And if I give something called etc, it says okay, you have a lot of etc directories in you. So with find, you can also give this type and d for directory, as I said, f for the file, and then the name, just give the name. And this is important, where exactly you are trying to search. So if you just give forward slash, is for the whole root of the Linux machine, so it's going to search everywhere. So if you know you have something inside a directory, for example, just to minimize the search operation, you can give, let's say, inside etc. I know I have a test.txt, but I don't know where. So you can just provide like this, and it says okay, inside etc you have test.txt or any other files, just to minimize the search you want to do. So that's the command for find. Let's move to our next command. So let's check grep. So why grep command is used? So you can use grep to search something. For example, cd ls minus ltr, and I used there is something called pipe. Let's use pipe grep minus r, I say test. Okay, so inside the directory, I don't want to see everything, I just want to see okay, I have anything with the name test. Similarly, you can say uh, using the command star.sh. So this is a wildcard. So where it says okay, something that ends with .sh, yes, this is what. But you can use grep with a pipe. So it searches the text using your pattern, and then the I used here is for the case sensitive. And you can also give R for the recursive, and N for the basically the to show the line number. So you can use different options with grep. But yeah, grep is very powerful, like the we will see in other videos and other commands. When we start using grep, it's so powerful to filter out some of your content from the first command, because you see the first command is ls-ltr, it outputs everything. Then we use the pipe, it's like use another command, and then you use the second command, which is grep, to filter out just only output you are looking for. So that's why the grep is very, very powerful. And now we will see something called chmod. So what happens with chmod? Let's focus, because this is very important. So try ls-ltr. So we are in the, let's say, for the root directory. If I do pwd, okay, I'm in root directory, not and on ec2. If I see the file permission, so let's try to read this. So you have something like this, right? So it's called read, write, execute. R means read, W means write, X means execute, and then you see read dash execute, and then again you see read dash execute. So what normally in Linux machines it has is, it always has something called R for read, W for write, and X for execute. So these are the different permissions we have. So R, if there, it means you can read. W, there, you can write. X means execute, like you can execute a shell script. So if you don't know what is shell script, you get to know, but it's like execute a program, you need X as a permission. So now getting back to the file permission for test.ch, let's minimize our output. You know how we can do it. Okay, so how they start, so there are something called owner. So first three characters here holds by the owner. So the first three characters is for owner. The second three characters, which is read dash x, is for the group, and the final three is for the others, which is read dash x. So how you understand the permission for this file? So it means the owner has the full permissions. As I said before, read, write, and execute. Yeah, read, write, execute. So owner has all the permissions, and the group has just read and execute. It doesn't have write permission. So it means whoever part of the group root, they can only read and execute, but they cannot write. And similarly, others who are not part of the owner or group, anybody outside who can log into this machine, they can still read and execute, but they cannot write. So that's how it actually is. And also I would show you later maybe how this read, write, execute permissions, like read is number 4, so it has value of 4, write has a value of 2, and execute has a value of 1. For example, read has a value read has a value 4, write has a value 2, and execute has a value 1. And we will look what is this 4 to 1, we will uh, see for sure later, but yes. So this is what the permissions looks like. It means read has 4, write is 2, and execute is 1. So owner has a total value of 7. As I said, the first placeholder for 3 characters is the owner. The second 3 characters is a placeholder for the group. So read has 4, execute is 1, is 5. So I can say the owner of the file has 7 permission. So the value is 7 on total. And the group has, again, let's check, read is 4, no write, only execute. So group has 5, and finally others. So others as well the same, it's 4, no write, execute is 1. So it's 5 again. So total 755 is the permission. Now uh, the question comes, you want to change the permission of group and others, just read, you don't want to give them any execute permission. So what command you can run is chmod 7 for the owner full permission, but for the group you want to just give read. So as the read, the value is 4, so you give 4, and for the others the read also 4. If I do like this, I run the command, if I check the output again, you see it has now read for the group, and others only can read, they don't have execute anymore. But owner has the full permission, the owner has read, write, and execute. So that's the difference. So using chmod you can change the permission of a file. So it means anybody who logged into this machine, they cannot execute your code anymore, the test.sh. They can just read, they can open this file cat, they cannot edit, they cannot write anything. But owner, which is like a root, or any other owners for any other files, they can do based on this permission. So we will deep dive into chmod later, but just to give a summary, with chmod you can change the file permission, and based on that the owner, the group, and the others can do different operations like read, write, and execute. Read means reading the file, write means editing or create a new file, updating that file, and X is for the execute the file, like run the script, run the file, run the program, run the application. So chmod, that's why it's really important. And there is one more command which is kind of matching the similar permission, which is chown. But the difference is with chown, you can change the owner and the group of a file. For example, let's go back to EC2 user. Let's do not change anything on the root directory. Go to EC2 user and you have a file, let's say called test2.txt. And what I want to do is the test2.txt has the owner is EC2 user, group is EC2 user. I want to change the owner to root. So how can I do it? So I can use chown and I make root as the owner and I keep the group as it is, which is EC2 user. And then I give the file name, let's say for example test2.txt. I run it and let's check again if anything changed. Yes, you can see the owner has changed to root, and similarly you want to change the group as well to root or any other groups in your system. You can just use the same command, and if we see the output, yes, it has changed to root and root. So with chown you can change the file ownership and the group. With chmod you change the file permission that you see here. So that's basically the difference between chmod and chown. Thanks everyone for watching the first part of this video series. In this part, we went through many basic commands of Linux, from navigating directories with cd and ls to managing files with cp, mb, and rm. We also explored essential tools for handling your file system efficiently. We also touched on file permission using chmod and chown, along with some key utilities like find, grep, and other commands as well. Watch out for our part 2, where we will discover and deep dive into more advanced commands like system monitoring, process management, networking, automation, etc. Thanks again.